All right, everybody. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. I'm looking at this report by Yahoo Finance. SpaceX biggest investors are finally visible, just as millions more shares unlocked. Now, I said Nvidia held some shares, and Harvard admitted to holding $21 billion in shares. But look at this juicy news. Oh, I told you we were going to be making money. I'll be getting in more news later, but look at this. Google Alphabet has been admitted to have a fair stake in SpaceX. Let's see. Let's just read the report. SpaceX biggest investors are finally... Hey, really? No one likes ads. All right. The curtain is finally lifting of who owns SpaceX, blah, blah, blah. More than 1,500 investors, but only 23 accounts for over 80% of the reported shares. Look at this, guys. I hate the pop-ups. The concentration is even more striking. On the other hand, nearly 1,300 investors reportedly position fewer than 100,000 shares, yet together they own less than 1% of the shares in filings. So, this is insane. Those disclosures offer the first broad look at SpaceX ownership. Since the company went public on June 12th, large investment managers are required to report their U.S. stock holdings. So, like 80% of these holdings are big Alphabet companies. Look at this. Alphabet, Google, and so GOOGL and GOOG, so just Alphabet, literally, leads the pack with more than 551 million shares. Which is crazy. Even more crazy, guys, is Fidelity right here is reported to have 302 million. GigaFund, Saudi Arabia public investor fund, and Nvidia, we talked about Nvidia, each disclosed more than 100 million. Holy crap, guys. Billions in dollars. We know why the stock's going up and why it went up to ding, 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 146 right now today. But let's read more into the article so I'm not word salading until later on. Harvard may be the biggest surprise. I was saying this, guys. I literally was saying this. I released this before Harvard, or before Yahoo had a story on it. Harvard may be the biggest surprise in nearly 13 million SpaceX shares to make the company's largest individual stock position in Harvard Management Co. I'm going to have a separate video on this, but my hometown, WSU, Washington State University, they need to start buying some shares so we start making some money over here. I never went to WSU. If I ever went, I'd probably go there for business, but a shout out to WSU. But they need to make money somehow and to fund the research that they're doing with veterinary stuff and bears. Anyways, back to the article. The Saudi state comes with some of Musk's history to back. Musk. Back in 2018, Musk famously tweeted that he was considering taking Tesla TSLA private at 420. I love that he did that, with funding secured. Musk later said discussion with the Saudi fund helped give him confidence that the finance would be available, an episode that eventually landed him to count a settlement with the SEC. Just, Elon is making big moves, people. You literally can't make this stuff up. Big moves. All right, let's keep listening. SpaceX early shareholders were restricted from immediately unloading much of their stock after IPO. Those restrictions are now expiring in stages, steadily increasing the numbers of shares that can be sold. Roughly 912 million shares became eligible earlier this month. Instead of a bucket under the added supply, SpaceX jumped 6% on August 6th. We know all this. Everyone's been paying attention to this, so I'm just making sure there's nothing new you guys haven't found out. I will say it's we'll get into it later, but it's evaluated to go up all the way to 225. But I think that's what this. By then, SpaceX has already fallen from an intrad high above 225 to roughly 105. Blah blah blah. after another roughly 319 million shares. They're really explaining what's been going on. But yes, this is where we're at right now. We're back up to 148. There's a lot of explaining to say, big explaining to be like, oh yeah, we were doing business stuff and now the shares are available. Let's go on. The first giant batch of new tradable shares arrived at SpaceX near its lows. The new round arrive around roughly 40% rebound. It's literally what I was saying earlier. Is a bunch of shares became available. Of course they're gonna go down. It's supply and demand. And there's that article. If you guys are here and you've joined me this far, please like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other NVIDIA video so you know what I was talking about. How NVIDIA is making chips and putting them into SpaceX rockets. I don't want this video to get too long, so let's go to the next article. This is from TheStreet.com. 5-star analyst sets alarm SpaceX price target. So basically, this is what I was saying. This is a very summarized article, which I liked. Is way better for you guys. SpaceX. Stock is back trading at nearly 140, up nearly 5% over the past week. Hey. As investors find new reasons to bet on Tesla, Elon Musk's new public market heavyweight. Let's skip to the good juicy bits. So this is what I was saying with NVIDIA, with the 21 billion. This is why they invested 20 billion in shares in their confidence, because it's their product. And then this is how much Google put in, 94.2 billion in shares. And this is exactly what they said with the article, which I kind of agree. That's some insane institutional firepower behind a stock that hasn't left the spotlight since Earth shattered in June's debut. Like, that's exactly my sentiment. For context, the last lockup released on August 6th was much bigger at 911 million shares. So that's why it went down so much. It was a big share split. But look at this. Analysts disagree. This is where people disagree, and I argue against what these people are saying, and I will go with what Wall Street says. For context, the last lookup, August 6th, was much bigger than 911 million shares, yet the fear-settling wave never came, as reported by CNN. Instead, SpaceX jumped above 135. And this is the most beautiful part. Yeah, CNN are always is like, jumping the gun. They're not too business savvy over there sometimes. Nevertheless, Wall Street remains bullish, slapping an average pricing target of around 227, implying a 62% upscale. That means we're gonna. I got in when we had I got one share, and it's when I was 118, because I was like, I'm gonna wait until it drops down, and I'm gonna be excited for this. But remember, guys, don't invest when shares are opening up, and there are ways to look up. I'm part of forums. I should probably post on my community page for you guys when the shares open up, so you guys don't buy right around then. Like inside trading secrets, like a lot of news people will do scare tactics. I'm more on the side of here. I will inform you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I said as myself, I am investing in it, so I don't know. I think a lot of these people who are like saying negative stuff about SpaceX and all this just don't like Elon personally, because this isn't even his company at this point. It's NVIDIA and Alphabet, and it's NASA. It's government tech right now. That's what you guys need to think about. It's not a normal company. This is the U.S. power. Strong power. We're not using soft power anymore. We're going to use strong power and get resources from space. I was saying this my last episode. We got to start using our means and our intelligence to go off planet to get resources. And we're not messing with any other people. And it will only incentivize people to become citizens legally here, and we can still be very bullish with our borders, which we should be. We can all disagree on that with me if you disagree. But we need to attract and not keep disiluding other people from America. And this is one way to do it, by having resources elsewhere, and also as a deterrent, having space supremacy. Let me continue. That's what makes a 5-star Phillips Security analyst Glenn Thune's note particularly interesting, putting a very different number on SpaceX stock compared to the bulls. Why Phillips sees SpaceX falling to 75. I really doubt this. I doubt this. You guys can, I'll read it real quick, but a real summarization. He said, Thume kept the selling rate at 75 price target, implying 46% down from the stock current price, nearly 140. None of this makes sense. I'm not even going to read that crap. Elon has 48.5% of it. All these other shares are owned by big companies. The majority of the shares that are going to be sold are going to that aren't like that are going to be opened are going to be us new investors. It's going to keep going up. What are you guys saying? It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to half. Oh, that does not make any sense. It does not make any sense, especially with all this infrastructure being built. I'm sorry if I sound rude. And this is why, like, I'm not even like an economics person. I'm just like, I feel so personally about SpaceX and what they do, and all these people who talk crap. I honestly think they're getting paid by our enemies of the country, because it literally doesn't make any sense, or they just hate Elon Musk. And that's it. And rage bait aside, this is pure gold and money. That's why I'm not going to keep reading into this, and I just explained why he says that. It's stupid. Okay. Anything else we got? I don't want this to get too long because it takes forever to render, and I want to be able to get you guys an episode now that my baby has calmed down a little bit. Oh my goodness, guys. It's taking a lot of work. Yet again, if you're this far, please like, share, subscribe, hit a comment down there. Tell me what you want to talk about, maybe what I need to work on specifically. Ask me questions. Let's see. And this is from Coin, Gabar. Why is SpaceX stock rise this week? Latest SpaceX stock news. Woo! It even suggests it's going to go past 150, which is why I keep looking at other places, because it's. I honestly just think that analyst just doesn't like Elon. Honestly, there's just people who are too bullish with their ideology, and you can just look past their politics into the business. Let's get into this. SpaceX stock is back in the spotlight this week. Shares of Space Exploration Technology Corp. I love that name. Shares of Space Exploration Technologies Corp. I have a speech impediment, but I love saying that. Shares in Space Exploration Technologies Corp. Jumped by 4.45% on Monday, closing at $146.23 after adding $6.23. The move followed a wave of institutional filings, the fresh SpaceX news that pushed this SPX share price back towards the key 150 level. And you guys can read more into this because they get more into that analysis. Let's see. Why is SpaceX stock rising this week? Let's see what their quick analysis of this is. Second quarter revenue of $7.81 billion. They're already making revenue. They wanted to say there wasn't going to be any revenue from this. Oh my God! Above roughly 6.9 billion analysts expected, with net loss nearly sharply from years earlier. AI segment revenue jumped over 200%. Yep, this is what Elon was saying. That's beautiful right there. Let's read this part. Fresh 13F filings added more fuel. Harvard Management Company disclosed $2.2 billion in stake, a large-scale single U.S. holding, and interest. Sampito holding in $966 million stake in SpaceX, University of California. This is beautiful. Nvidia itself holds $21 billion. Oh, let's keep going. Now a second tranche is arriving in roughly 319 million shares to unlock. This is going to be Elon's stake is about 6.4 billion shares, and he's locked until mid 2027. That's why it doesn't make sense why it would jump down to 75. That is, I'm going to try my best not to say words that offend people. It's very stupid. Very stupid. And slow. On a daily chart, SpaceX keeps getting turned away near 150, a level close to 0.382 Fibonacci retractment of the swing from 225 high, which is a higher valuation. It's just a projection, which people need to understand. It being of low value now is good for the common man, and it's going to keep going up. All these alphabet companies have money in it, and it's intentional so normal people can get money, and it adds liquidity. Okay? Because if you can have it more easily traded, people are more willing to buy it. All right, Wall Street is split. UBS has buy rate of 210, price target appointing Starlink growth at AI demand, and that's just it, guys. I want to end it on this. Did you guys see this? 2 Falcon S9s. That's a beautiful sight right there. 2 inside of 38 minutes. New record for space, and Elon said it. Although, I will say, it was the help of the government, because the one out in California, his first one I think was in Texas, the one out in California was government stuff. And I was saying it, I bet there's tech up there to make sure we have supremacy. Duh. People need to get on the program and just... Western Hemisphere is our dominance, and we're not going to worry about Europe. Europe needs to deal with its own stuff and create peace with Russia and China. We want to make peace with China as long as they don't want to, do anything. Main thing we need to deal with right now is Iran, and the main thing with Iran is Israel's going to nuke them. If they keep this stuff up, I'm going to end this on that. Yeah, just kidding. Yeah, no. We need to focus on rocket technology for good and not these negative politics. I think that's the only reason why America's dealing with this stupid stuff right now. I could only imagine the conversations like you have to have, your Trump has to have with she. It's like, what? He's gonna nuke Israel. That's it. Back to this SpaceX stuff. This is a beautiful sight. Just rockets on rockets. I hope everyone has a good night. Thanks for joining me. This got way longer than I intended. So, just have no fear. It's going to be a great time in human society. New golden age. If you got this far, like, share, and subscribe. God bless you. God bless your family. And God bless America.